Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first in what will hopefully be a series of artist interviews, which we're going to be dubbing the Artshed Artist Spotlights. Today, I'm joined by the very talented Tessa Maddock. Hello.
Hi.
So, in this interview, we're going to be talking to Tessa about her art practice and picking her brains about her approach to being creative. So first up, Tessa, tell us about yourself, about your background in art making.
I am Tessa. Hi. I was born in Geelong and moved to northeast Victoria and lived in the country for a bit, had a bit of a country upbringing, and moved back to Melbourne when I was just 21, went to TAFE in Melbourne, studied graphic design, and just have always been sort of creative and pursued creative interests. And I've sort of been mainly doing collage work and sort of recently exploring more abstract painting. And yeah, that's it.
That sounds awesome. How have you found your art has evolved over the years? Like, where did you start and kind of where is it now, or where is it heading now?
Yeah, I've a bit of a perfectionist. So for me, collage was really good to just have everything ready to go and laid out. You know, there's not too much room for error, being messy. So I started out with collage and paper. Like with TAFE, we explored photography and illustration, all that sort of stuff. So I've always been trying different mediums, but with collage, I just found it so nice to just have everything laid out in front. And obviously, as I'm getting older and exploring more painting techniques and working at Artshed, I've had mediums to explore and try a bit more with that side of things. So it's evolved definitely in exploring more of the abstract style painting and just letting go that way, not being so controlled with the paper style and collage and stuff like that.
Yeah, I suppose you're kind of finding an interesting mix between those two mediums as well and the work that you're making. It's like something I kind of notice is that it's started to evolve away from that collage technique. Which maybe we could talk about that for a while, because that's quite a unique facet of your creative process, I think. How does that process work as far as the collage, the collages go? Like, where do you source the imagery from? Is there any particular types of imagery you like to use, and why?
Yeah, I'm very much drawn to vintage style, vintage illustration, romance, novel covers. That's where I find a lot of the imagery that I like that is quite, I don't know, it's nostalgic to me. Like, I love that style. So I am definitely drawn to those sorts of romantic and female as well, very female driven, like romance covers. I love how they're so, like damsel in distress and vulnerable. And I like just sort of changing that theme. And I find, go op shopping and look for books and any random things that I can find that inspire me. And I'm on Pinterest a lot for imagery, finding inspiration there, and like old vintage books, cutting them, like women's weekly magazines, like anything vintage that I can find. And I just pull a lot of the images together and lay them all out and see what colours and tones sort of match up. And then I sort of find a theme, and I'm very like colour based. I love like a monochromatic colour scheme, if you can tell in the background here. I just like to pull things together through colours and tones and textures and that sort of side of things, and then draw the theme through that. So Pinterest, magazines. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I like that in your work you use like a wide color palette, but in a really kind of selective and like polished way. It's like this design aesthetic to it as well.
Yeah, I think that graphic design composition background comes in, like having everything laid out, and the composition of things is really important to me when pulling it together.
So how are you finding with the evolution of your work into, I suppose, like heading towards more abstraction and painting, standalone painting without the collage elements? How are you finding that process?
I'm very, like, it's hard because you just sort of, I want everything to be perfect the first time around. So with abstract, it's all about like the mistakes that kind of make it, or the things that the imperfections, the things that you don't expect to happen. With painting, it's like that wet, flowing, loose medium. So it's always changing. And as it dries, it changes. And for me, that you can't control that element of abstract. And that's the beauty of it, I think, when you're painting. So I think just letting go and letting it naturally happen has been really good, to just sort of stand back and let the process just happen.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are there any particular color palettes that you find you like gravitate towards more than others?
Yes. Purple and green. And pink, peach. Like, I just love, it's like I didn't think I was super girly, but I feel like they're really soft colors that I'm always drawn to. I'm always picking out purple and green especially. Like, I'm a huge nature lover, so green is really important to me.
What about mediums? Like, do you have a specific favored medium that you're using at the moment?
Definitely acrylic. Yeah, I love acrylic paint, and and paper too. Like acrylic paper, like they lend themselves really well to work together. Like I wouldn't necessarily have thought. I started off paper on paper all the time with collage, and I've found that now, like, being able to create different tones and colors and textures in the background of the collage works really well.
What about your brands of acrylic paints? Do you have favorites?
Yes.
I know what it is.
Sonia. I love Joe Sonia. I think, like, if you're a creative person, like not necessarily a painter or an artist, but you dabble in like craft kind of style, Joe Sonia is more of a craft paint. It's really super matte finish, but they've got such great colours. And I love them for painting. Some people don't like that super flat matte finish, but I do.
Yeah,
I like it.
It would sit well against the collage, I suppose, with a lot of that print kind of being matte to begin with. So you've got that kind of match.
Matte finish, yeah.
And similar, as you said, like the colour range is really nice and quite unique from them as well.
Yeah, they've definitely got a lot of beautiful, like, softer colours. Yeah, I really love their range.
Yeah, nice one. What have you got? A particular favourite colour nearby that we can have a look at?
Yes. I have like all my colours like grouped here on my caddy.
Yeah, that looks like a really nice organised setup there.
I love all these.
Something nice about looking into somebody else's studio.
Just dropped everything, but we can edit that out, right? The Celadon, is that how you say that, Celadon?
I don't know. That's a lovely green. Yeah, beautiful.
That's so nice. And jade, they're jade.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. There's like those particular colours, there's not really another range that makes something similar to those greens. So
yeah, they've got actually all the greens, antique green and phthalo green.
Yep, correct.
They're my faves, top 4.
Awesome. What about like where do you want your art practice to go? Like, do you have any kind of goals in the short and medium term for your art?
Like I'm really enjoying exploring the abstract side of things and pushing and evolving and trying different techniques and different styles and mediums. I think it's important to not sort of get stuck in a rut. And if you feel like, I was finding with my collage, I was becoming very formulaic with what I was doing. So I think it's good to always, keep challenging yourself and pushing yourself. And I hope I can keep doing that. And like I'm trying different styles of abstract, not necessarily just the color exploration. It's the floral stuff that I've been doing as well, a bit more loose and free with that. So, I mean, I hope I can keep being, I'm going to start selling on Blue Thumb and keep just pushing that direction and see how that goes. Be cool.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. It'll be interesting to check in with you down the line and see how it's all going.
Yeah, exactly. Just want to get it all framed up.
Yeah. I know somebody who can help you out. Do you have any advice for maybe some younger artists out there who are just getting started and are interested in your work? Are there any maybe some specific techniques that you've come across that might be useful to a budding artist?
I think don't be scared, or don't let fear hold you back. That's the main overarching thing for me, is just letting yourself go and trying things. But techniques, I think experimental, like just exploring different things, because one style may work for someone, might not work for someone else. So I think finding those little things that you enjoy doing, and just keep trying and experimenting.
So at this point, do you want to give us a bit of an idea about where people can find out more about your work, where they can find you online as well if they want to have a squiz at what you've been working on?
Yes, have a look at my stuff. I love Instagram. I'm an Instagrammer. I've got 2 accounts. So
you've got a few more than that.
I've got more than 2. But for my art accounts, they're all creative. My art for my collage stuff is at Tessa Ann with 2 underscores at the end. And my everyday life and abstract exploration is at Tessa Maddock.
Awesome. Actually, while we're on the topic of that, because I think it would be interesting to a few people, because I think you've got quite a good eye for social media. Do you have any tips for artists, like with their Instagram profiles? Like, I think that is something that you're pretty strong with. You can see that in the aesthetic of your feed, but yeah, is there anything there that we could maybe, pick up some pointers from you?
Sure. I think having a good, clear plan and aesthetic of what you want to present is really important. Clear photography. I always clean my camera lens on my phone when I'm taking photos. I think that blurry look can be a bit distracting, but yeah, real, like jumping on the trends when they come up. If Instagram's pushing a feature, I think it's really important to get behind that, because obviously they're going to try and push those features. For example, reels, trying to do reels and trying to stay active and, not putting too much pressure on yourself to always be providing content, but just being consistent is a huge one. Have fun with it.
Awesome.
It's fun.
Give us one last look at your profile things before we sign off.
Is that going to be back to front?
I don't think so. I can see it the right way.
Good. That's me. Hello.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Tessa. It's been great, a great experience for me hosting our first interview of the series.
Thank you.
Yeah, and look forward to catching up again soon.
I'm a hot Blue Thumb seller.
Yeah, when you're selling heaps of artwork.
Let's go. I've got to clear out my studio.
Yeah. All right.